Nothing can stop you, nothing can stop you, stop you. Feel your soul come alive, let it go, free the vibe. Clap your hands, stomp your feet, push around, jump and scream. Throw your hips to the side, break it down real slow. Throw your hands all around, lose your self-control, control, control. Scream, don't you be shy, you'll see that nothing's impossible, yeah, yeah. Dance into the night, wild and free, unstoppable. Scream, don't you be shy, you'll see that nothing's impossible, yeah, yeah. Dance into the night, wild and free, unstoppable. All right, break it down. Your mind was designed to stop from freeing the crazy one inside you. But I know and you know the mind has got to go before your body moves the way you want it to. Scream, don't you be shy, you'll see that nothing's impossible, yeah, yeah. Dance into the night, wild and free, unstoppable. Scream, don't you be shy, you'll see that nothing's impossible, yeah, yeah. Dance into the night, wild and free, unstoppable. Thank you. Thank you.
The theme for this month is to live intelligently. See, we are always creative, but sometimes we're just not very intelligent. So last week, or last month, we talked about creativity, how to live consciously creatively. Because we are creative, we're always creating stuff, we're making stuff up all the time. But sometimes we're just not real intelligent with what we're making up. So let's talk about intelligence a little bit. First of all, I want to give you some definitions that I got about intelligence, because I love the internet. I just looked on the internet and I got five different definitions of intelligence from five. You'll see the first four first. 5 different sources. So let's look at what intelligence is, according to Google. But you can figure it out anyway. I love it. I love it. So let's just look at this. This is what intelligence is according to intelligent people. First of all, the ability to learn or understand or deal with situations. If you learn, you're intelligent, according to this definition. If you understand what's going on, you're intelligent by this definition. If you can deal with situations, you're intelligent. So it has nothing to do with what we call IQ. It's ability to respond, to be a learner. The next definition is the ability to apply knowledge and manipulate one's environment. Now that doesn't really take a lot, because that's what a virus and a virus does, and so does bacteria. So no big whoop there. Anyway. Oh, really? But how many of you know people who don't use their intelligence to deal with their environment? Which means bacteria are smarter than them. It's sad. Actually, this is just not going to be pretty at all. Intelligence. It's a person or being with the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. So if you can learn new things, acquire new ideas, and apply them, you're intelligent. Next definition. The mental quality that let's see, where did I put that? Mental quality that consists of the ability to learn from experience, adapt to new situations, understand and handle abstract concepts, and use knowledge to manipulate one's environment. It's all about the environment. Have you noticed that? It's about, you're intelligent if you can take what's going on and do something with it. That's intelligent. According to the CIA, this is intelligence. According to the CIA, intelligence is information. So when they gather intelligence, they're gathering information. If you have a lot of information, you're considered intelligent. Now, I'm still not to the end of this, because this is important. I mean, if we're going to live intelligently, just figure out what this is. According to quantum physics, intelligence is the third part of the universal trinity. So the universal trinity, we know of two of them. We've heard about matter and energy, and that matter and energy are interchangeable. But with quantum physics, intelligence is always a major factor in how energy and matter coexist and react to each other. So there's always this intelligence. And that's proven by, you take a particle, small little thing, you think it's light. What is it? Is it a particle? Is it a wave? Is it matter or is it energy? You know what it is? It's whatever the observer wants it to be. So intelligence is always mixing it up with matter and energy. So you can't separate intelligence from what's going on in the universe. The universe is made up of matter, energy, and intelligence. And if that's what the universe is, that's what we are. We are intelligent whether we like to be or not. We are intelligent. Filled with intelligence, surrounded by intelligence, swimming in intelligence. Everything is intelligent. The earth is intelligent. Everything on the earth is intelligent. Bacteria and viruses, as I said, can mutate to adjust to what us human beings throw at them. Mutating all the time. And then there's this intelligence, because it's everywhere. Bacteria adjust to a biotic, what are they called? Antibiotic. A bacteria will adjust to an antibiotic on one place of the earth, and on the other side of the earth, this bacteria has already figured it out. There's one intelligence. This is so, is your mind boggled yet? I mean, if we could just learn from each other like bacteria do. I mean, a bacteria. Now I want to do it myself. A person or being with the ability to acquire and apply new knowledge and skills, to learn. How many of you have pets? How many of you have noticed that they learn? Even if you try to teach them, they learn how to manipulate you. Don't they? Are they smart? Or at least intelligent? Actually smart, I'll get to that in a moment. Human beings have incredible information at their disposal, whether it's either their memory or access to internet searches. So according to the CIA, we'd all be intelligent because we have access to information. And now I want to share with you my own definition, the way I look at things. I know plenty of people who are intelligent, but they're not real smart. For me, the definition of smart is your ability to access intelligence. An intelligent person keeps learning, and they are adaptable to new things. An intelligent person, then, would be someone who seeks understanding from not only what's happening with themselves, but also what's happening in the world, like the bacteria. They learn from experiences and shift from what they've learned. They are in control of their close environment. How many of you know people who are really intelligent by some standards, but boy, they just don't seem real smart? Okay, since we're all intelligent, my prayer is that we all get smart. So the talk today is not about being intelligent. It's because you are. Your body is doing things you could never figure out. Every single cell is adjusting to its environment. Every single cell is a tiny bit of intelligence that boggles a computer's mind. We are living, moving, and having our beingness and intelligence that knows how to shift things and organize things and bring harmony to the world. We are intelligent. Being smart means we access it. Today, I want to be smarter. And I want to talk about us as a collective body in this room being smart. And smart just means using what we already have. By the way, if you'd like to know more about intelligence, there's a little book called The 7 Main Aspects of God. Intelligence is an aspect of God, and you can read more about it in this little book. And I'm saying this because it also happens to be our book of the month. And one of the reasons that I love this little book is it's easy to carry around and it just talks about what God is and how we can use that aspect of God in our life to make it more real, to not to acquire anything because it's already with us, but to express that thing. How do we express intelligence? How do we express life? Too much of what we teach, which is New Thought, has been dummied down to getting. That's dummied down. This real teaching is not about getting, it's about expressing. What in me wants to come out and be made real in the world? Because when it's made real, we get the gifts. This personality, this thing that you think you are, it wins. Because it's an expression of our divinity. And one of the things that we are as a divine being is we're intelligent. I am in competition with the bacteria right now. I just realized, please, God, let me be as smart as a virus. Now, let me talk a little bit about being smart. The definition of insanity, which many of you have heard, is that an insane person is someone who does the same thing over and over again and expects a different result. I don't call that insane, I just call that not very smart. It's just not very smart. We're intelligent, but we also sometimes just aren't willing to use the capacity that we have to adjust to our environment in such a way that we live well. So let's be smart. We are able to draw from infinite intelligence, and therefore we can take what's going on around us and learn from what's going on around us in such a way that we improve. That's what bacteria do. That's what viruses do. That's what in business classes they call a learning organization. There's learning organisms, there's learning organizations. We could be a learning being, learning from what's going on around us and adjusting so that we prosper and thrive. That's what bacteria do. That's being smart for me. So I'm going to share with you 3 things to do to be smart. At least I think it's smart. First of all, a smart person or smart people use the intelligence at their disposal. A smart person uses the intelligence at their disposal. They step back and say, this has happened to me a lot. What do I need to learn from this? This has happened to me a lot. What do I need to learn from this? They are willing to look at patterns and see that they are part of the pattern. As wonderful Michael Ingersoll would say, where are my fingerprints on this thing? How am I participating in this thing? Now, this is very critical. This is critical. In this discussion, you don't say, what did I do wrong? In this discussion, you don't go into wrong. It's not what you did wrong. It's not what they did wrong. To look for wrong is a pattern in our country, and it's not real smart. It's a pattern in our country, and I see the pattern of wrong. They're wrong, they're wrong, they're wrong, they're wrong, so you can never find anything right. You can't find what would work because there's too much energy going into what's wrong. So no wrong. So raise your hand. I hereby swear to no longer wrong myself or anyone else because I'm smart. Great. It's not smart to go chasing what's wrong. You'll never get to a solution in searching for what's wrong. You just won't. When an uncomfortable pattern is showing up, it's asking us to access intelligence and see what can come out of us, what new thing wants to be birthed. This uncomfortable pattern is a call to be intelligent. Animals do that all the time. I have animals. I've noticed that they don't make me wrong. They don't make themselves wrong. They just go for what works. There was a time with my little gelding that geldings get extra teeth. I didn't know. And so I was continuing to put the bit in his mouth, and when those extra teeth grew in, I was hitting those teeth, and it was uncomfortable for him. So he started pulling away. Well, so I had to say, what's the pattern here? What's going on? I had to look inside and say, oh, I am hurting him. And then when I stopped doing it that way, but I didn't wrestle with him, I didn't make him wrong, I didn't, grab him. I just, oh no, honey, I'm sorry, I promise I won't do it again. Let's get this, come on, I'll be nice and talk to him. It's like, pretty soon it's like, well, okay. He wasn't wrong, I wasn't wrong, but we learned from what was going on so that we could trust each other and have harmony again. That's important. There was a time, and I've shared this, if you were in a class with me, you may have heard this story, so please forgive me, you get to hear it again. There was a time I was paying bills, and once again, I was broke. I would get to the end of all my bills and usually not have money for the last one, whatever was on the table. And this broke feeling was familiar. Now, what was odd is that over a whole set of circumstances, and because I had just got into this teaching and I was changing my mind and I was accepting more abundance, I had gotten 3 raises in a year, big ones. And I was still broke. And it hurt to be broke. But instead of making myself wrong or going into this doesn't even work, something happened and I felt being broke. And I said, I'm always broke. Well, that's odd. Why am I always broke when I make more money? That's odd. And by asking that question, something showed up for me, and I had this amazing aha experience of, I've created being broke. I'm a miracle worker. How did I create being broke? That takes talent. It takes talent to double your income in a year and be broke. Wow. But when I saw that I was part of it, and just rested in it, I could see that I created being broke. I didn't know how. All I knew was that I'm creative, and somehow I'm at the center of this broke pattern. Somehow I'm at the center. Because I couldn't blame it on the economy. I couldn't blame it on my poor parents. I couldn't blame it on my upbringing. I couldn't blame it on nobody pays me what I'm worth. There was no blame. And in that holy moment, I could say, well, I could create something different. I'm going to have $100 left over after every paycheck. I just took a deep breath, and that's what I could accept at the moment. So I accepted that at the moment. I recreated that, and it didn't take very long, and that's what was the norm. And then after $100 after every paycheck, well, why not 200? And I've just been adding ever since. And that was 35 years ago. Now, I could do almost anything with my checkbook because I just kept adding. Just the new norm, the new norm, the new norm, the new norm, the new norm. When I changed banks recently, and the woman said, do you want overdraft privileges? I go, nah. Probably will never happen. Unless I go buy a new Tesla and pay it with cash. Do you see? It's like you gotta, when you get that you're part of the pattern, you can change the pattern, and that's intelligent. What's not smart is to continually look out there for what was wrong. The next thing to do if we want to be smart, I can't find is to know that whatever we need is accessible to us right now, because intelligence is only in the present moment. So we have to be aware of the present moment. See, I could have gone off and go, I'm broke, and didn't want to deal with it, and then went shopping. How many of you know people that they don't want to look at something, and so they go do something that's really not smart or healthy? The present moment is where all of the juice is, because the present moment is where we access this universal love intelligence that is always willing to give to anyone that's willing to ask. But you got to stay with the moment. You can't zone out. You can't tell stories. You can't go into your past and do justification. You got to stay right in the moment. And that's the way that I teach. The way I teach is I'm not philosophical. I frankly don't care about philosophy. I care about what can happen in this moment. So if somebody asks me about, what about this? It's like, ah! Whenever the tone of voice goes up, it's like, kaboom, come here, and what's your issue? And out of the issue, if you stay present with it, is a call upon intelligence, and the issue will call forth its own solution. But if you go off here, you'll never know the solution. It always happens in the present moment. What am I dealing with? What hurts? What feels bad? What inspires? Where's my dream? In the middle of all of that is the intelligence to inform and heal. Which means I have to stay present and not waste a learning opportunity with a platitude. Oh, it's all good. Everything's falling apart. It's all good. God's got some sort of plan. Blessings. God does have a plan. It's for you to wake up. Get over yourself. Get over yourself and pay attention to what wants to be birthed in you, what wants to be revealed in you, what your part is. So I will tell a story about just that, because always when there's a, how many of you have ever had this, especially last week? In the middle of the, if you stay present, there is something that wants to be birthed that will not only be beneficial to you, but beneficial probably to others. But we don't like to be uncomfortable. That's the dummy down part of New Thought. We all just sing and we're happy. No, we sing and we're happy because we are willing to look at anything, and at the root of everything is God. But you don't get God if you're not willing to look. Got it? That's what makes us happy. So I found out how cable cars were invented. I know, you're wondering, cable cars? Hey, I'm not done with this yet. You get cable cars and crows today. Cable cars. They were invented by this guy who was watching. Well, first of all, they were invented in San Francisco. Hills. Think Bullitt. And just a weird bit of trivia, they finally found the Mustang that was used in Bullitt. It was in Mexico. I know. Wouldn't you just like to touch it? I'm sorry. Never mind. That was another age. All right. Back to cable cars. You know the high hills in San Francisco. The way they would get to the top of the hill before cable cars is they would load up wagons and teams of horses would pull them up the hills. Now, having horses, I know that the metal shoes on the horse's hooves against the smooth and getting smoother cobblestones was not going to last well forever. And somebody loaded a wagon way too heavy, and the team of horses were not making it up the hill. So the driver just kept whipping the horses, and they tried, but they couldn't, and they slipped. And then the weight of the wagon pulled them all the way down the hill, and all the horses died. I know. Someone's at the bottom of the hill watching that, and his heart broke. And he was like so distraught. And he's like, I can't, what? There's got to be a better way. That's the calling card. That's speed dating for the universe. You say there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something else the universe says. I've been waiting. Let's get together. Here's my number. But in reality, it didn't say it quite that way, but it flashed on him how they could find a solution, because he knew about steam engines and he knew how they operated. And so in his mind, he's had a steam engine, and then he saw cables coming from it. And within 6 months, they had their first cable car. Within 6 months, no more horses had to die going up and down hills to deliver things to the top of a hill in San Francisco, because somebody was present to the horror. He didn't make people wrong. Well, it should have been the driver. They shouldn't have loaded so much on the wagon. They should not have whipped those horses. Should have known it was too heavy and come back down, which would have never happened, by the way. See how when you go out there and you blame, no new idea can come in? But when he said there's got to be a better way was birthed, and he made a lot of money, because he was willing to let intelligence function through him. Are you willing to stay present? When you're in the middle of something and you're feeling angst, don't go out there, don't go pointing fingers, say, there's got to be a better way. Last thing to do if you want to be smart is know that deep down below the chatter, you will always have your own answers. A smart person goes beyond the mind chatter to access their inner source of intelligence. Now, what is that chatter? That chatter is reoccurring thoughts that just keep cycling through. How many of you had a thought today that you had yesterday? Probably a bunch of times. Those thoughts sometimes come from the outside, our family, our friends, news agencies, or conclusions that we came up with from past experiences. But there's no new thought, therefore no new learning. And I want to go into news agencies for a minute. Can I just say that? Perhaps one of the reasons why they advertise so many, I don't even know what the name of the drugs are. What are those drugs that make you happier? Antidepressants. I mean, but they advertise them on TV? Maybe that's because people have also watched the news. I mean, I wouldn't mind if it was at least 50-50. But no news, no good news is news. Now, once in a while, ooh, look at how many people were saved, but more attention is on how many houses have been lost in Houston, not how many thousands of lives were saved from the floods. They're not talking about how many thousands of people have shown up to help other thousands and thousands of people. Instead, we're looking at loss and loss and money and loss and loss and loss and money and loss. And what gets in our consciousness? Loss and loss and money and loss. Well, you know what? More good has been going on than bad can happen. But see, that's something that we could have in our minds and lean into. Something good is always happening. Now, see, that's what we teach, but it really is. But then the news, that half an hour, whenever you listen, is saying something else. Good is always happening. If a plane crashes, we hear about it for weeks. What would be really cool is that every plane that landed, we go, yay, another plane landed. Because if you think about it, that big heavy thing in the air is a miracle. And it got to where it's supposed to be. Touchdown, nobody's shaken up. Well, anyway, that's another thing. But that's the thing that goes on in our mind, is that this reoccurring chatter, and that's the chatter that it seduces us into feeling helpless and powerless and at our wits' end. But a connection with the infinite intelligence always resides within us, but we have to stop. We have to stop to be able to hear it. I'll tell you another story that I've often shared, but I need to share it again. And what I want to say about the intelligence, when it speaks, it will be surprising, it'll feel right, and it'll kind of go kerchunk. Whereas the chatter just goes, and we go, ah, ah, ah. Intelligence goes chunk, and we, whoop. So there was a time, it was a miracle. I got fired. Now the reason I say it was a miracle is because, remember that I told you that year I'd gotten 3 raises and doubled my income? Well, 2 of the raises were from this company that I got fired from. And I'd just gotten a raise and a big bonus 2 months before. There was like, everything was going well, and all of a sudden I was told that the people I was working with didn't, which were principals, that I had gotten too many negative feedback. I'm thinking, well, why didn't you tell me? But it was okay. I don't know. All I was like, that was a surprise. So I went home and I cried. I cried for 2.5 hours. I don't usually cry because I'm not a pretty crier. Well, I totally ran out of snot. I was totally dried up. There were no tears left. I had no bodily fluids. I want you to get an idea what that's like. And I was dry heaving cries because there was no more cry left. I got to the bottom of the cry so that I had to just shut up. And all there is at the bottom of the cry when you really let yourself cry is total stillness. I'm sitting there in total stillness. And up bubbles, well, you didn't like that job anyway. And you weren't going to leave. Which was true. I was making too much money. And I hated that job. So I thought, well, if I can create getting fired, I can create a job I love. And with 2 weeks, I'd had the job. It was probably one of the most fun jobs I've ever had in my life. It had all the items I wanted. Really weird stuff. Because I was willing to listen to that. Intelligence is always wanting to inform its creation, and we are that in creation. It's wanting to inform us or reform us in its image and likeness, which is intelligent. But with that intelligence comes all the other aspects of God, which is creativity and love and insightfulness and security and power. All of that comes with that intelligence. Intelligence doesn't just show up on its own all by itself. It unlocks everything that it takes for us to live well. I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. I have come is what Jesus would say because he was repeating what he had heard. I am come that you might have life more abundantly. The problem is that sometimes when we're feeling uncomfortable, once again, we want to check out, and that is the root of all addiction. The root of addiction is wanting to check out from the experience that we're having instead of staying with the experience until it all melts back into the nothingness from which it came, and there is the eternal, everlasting, universal intelligence that wants to express through us. So it wasn't about me getting a job. It was really about me expressing I can have something I love and get paid to do it. A true friend, mentor, guru, or teacher will draw out your answers, not give them to you. If somebody wants to tell you how to live, run. Because it serves you in the short term, but does not grow you in the long term. Because you have all your own answers. You have your own intelligence. So I want to tell you a story. I'm going to go a little long. Do you mind? It's a good one. I told you I'd tell you about crows. So fun. So there's some interesting stuff about crows. First of all, they're one of the few species that are flourishing while the human population goes up. Most species are going down, except for crows, rats, and cockroaches. And crows are on every part of the world except the southern part of South America and the Antarctic, and they only reside where humans have population. So you will not find them over in the Olympic rainforest. They like people. We've got this sort of symbiotic relationship going on because they show up where we are. Have you noticed that the crow could be the city bird? I like living in the country. When I see a crow, it's like, wow, there's a crow. So this gentleman was in the backyard with another friend, and his friend said, there's too many crows. We should start, getting rid of them. We need to start handling that population. And this gentleman was kind of into this whole harmony thing, and he said, if crows are here and they're doing well, there's a reason. God's got something that we can do with crows that would serve everybody. And the friend said, oh, that's impossible. This gentleman said, I love impossible. So he spent 10 years studying crows. Everybody's got to have a hobby. And out of that whole studying the crows and how they work and what the difference is between a squirrel and a crow and who does what, and he found that crows were tenacious and that they teach their friends about things. So he invented a vending machine for crows. Well, actually, squirrels could participate, but squirrels didn't do it like crows did. He invented a machine that had a lot of peanuts on it and also a lot of coins. And so the crows came in and ate the peanuts. Squirrels came in and ate the peanuts. Well, then he got rid of the peanuts. So the squirrels look around, they keep looking around, they come back, they look around, but finally they give up. They go off to go find other peanuts. The crows won't give up. So the crow had seen the peanuts and the coins, but they'd pushed the coins off because they were looking for more peanuts, and the coins were getting in the way. So the crow, you just look at this, says, what's different here? And he thinks, well, there used to be coins. So he gets down off the vending machine, picks up a coin from the ground, puts the coin on a platform, and out comes a peanut. More coins, more peanuts. Teaches his friends. So the gentleman says, squirrels gave up, rats gave up, crows won't give up. What if we teach them to pick up stuff that we want them to pick up, like garbage, plastic, things that are polluting the earth? And this is what he said, but I got to leave it with you. Then they'd work for peanuts. This is a true story. You can see it on TED. Just Google intelligence. TED Talks, Google intelligence. Let's pray. The symbolism that comes up for me is that the universe does have a vending machine. And Ernest Holmes says that we pay with mental and spiritual coin. And the mental and spiritual coin that we're asked to pay to get the peanuts that we want is to see ourselves being one with the great self. If we are one with that great self, we're not getting anything. We're simply allowing that thing to flourish through us. We don't have to become smart. We just choose intelligence. We don't have to get love. We just have to choose to express love. We don't have to get opportunities. We just have to choose to express our gifts in a world and be compensated for it. That's the coin that goes into the vending machine, and the universe says, yay and amen. It's not because we are better than anyone else. It's not because we are somehow know some sort of magical words. It's just that we're willing to let the universe operate in us in an intelligent way, to bring harmony to ourselves, the family around us, the friends around us, and bring harmony to our planet, to our earth. And so I speak my word that whatever we are doing as a human race that is creating a pattern of disharmony on the planet, we're learning from it and saying, what can I do? I say thank you, sweet Spirit, for this day, for these people. I say thank you, sweet Spirit, for bringing us to this place so that we can accept universal intelligence operating through us and revealing to us solutions and answers that bless us and the world. Thank you, God. And so it is.